my holiday, the retreat that I had looked forward to for a while, I would have preferred that it wasn't in a prison, but it pleases God. And I'm thankful to God for the time spent in prison, you know. So I have acquired a new title. I was going to say Senior Eleven of Nigeria, SEN. Until a dear friend of mine, divinely inspired, showed me that, no, how can you call yourself 11? Nobody convicted you. I said, but I went to prison. He said, no, you went to prison, but you are not imprisoned. So you are not 11. So he suggested to me, why not call yourself Senior Accused of Nigeria? You know? So now I'm an SAN. When next you see me, or they are writing my name, please be mindful of the fact that I, formerly known simply as Dele Farotimi, occasional madman, previously 11, you can now call me graciously Dele Farotimi, SAN, Senior Accused of Nigeria. So welcome to this morning's show. Yes, it's a show, and the show must go on. So here is what we'll do. I told myself that I hold too many of you an unrepayable debt of gratitude. Too many of you. Look, one of the chief drum bangers for my freedom is my dear brother and friend, David. I spoke with David, I think, the day after I came out of my seclusion, and I promised him I was going to call him back that day, and I haven't managed to do so. And meanwhile, he was supposed to be telling me about several other people that I'm supposed to be calling because of everything so many of you did. Truth of the matter is, you are the best. Nigerians, fantastic human beings. You guys are the very best. And I'll find a way to build this around the sermon that I have assigned myself this morning. Let's get something clear. I was going to title this, Thank You, Debt of Gratitude. I ran out of superlatives with which to either title this or to describe the whole lot of you. I even went ahead, I wrote my outline as usual because I didn't want to be derailed. And I was convinced that this is what I was going to be speaking to this morning, although I eventually titled it The Road to Freedom. Is that what we called it? Now, I can't really remember, but I believe that is what it was. Or is it The Walk to Freedom? Whatever. The key thing is, I had one message planned. And it was planned, I believe, with my own carnality. And I'm as carnal as any one of you. I'm completely human with all of my hybrises and everything. And I've had 21 days to prepare for what I believe will be the next stage in the battle, that the war, because I knew that that stage had already been won. But let me quickly say this. Thank you. I thank you. I thank each and every one of you. I am deeply, deeply grateful for what you all did. The calls to my family, the amazing show of support. And it's easy for me to speak with specificity to certain persons. I could say, for instance, that Mr. Peter Obi came to the prison to see me. I should say and say thanks to him for that. And then there is my brother, Yele Showore. Not only did he call my family, like he called them, he mobilized the AAC and the Revolution Now movement behind the demand for my release. My legal team, led by Mr. Lumide Fusika, fantastic people. Then there is Professor Emiri. He lost his wife and he just lost his mother as well. In the midst of his grief, he found the grace to show up in court, argued my bail application before the Federal High Court in Ado Ekiti, even though I was only told the day before. I only informed them the day before. They all rushed to Ado Ekiti to ensure that I had legal representation. Fantastic human being. All kind of people small and great, however you grade human being in your own reckoning, traditional rulers, sending chiefs. My hometown, I've spent more time in front of you guys than I have spent in my hometown. But the Owa of my town sent a delegation, okay? Everybody, the show of support across the entire strata of our society is humbling. It was humbling in the extreme. And I need all of you, whether I've mentioned, do I want to talk about Gigabyte in Ekiti, the Revolution Now coordinator in Ekiti, and his team, all kind of human beings that I can't even remember to mention their name as I speak with you. The Ado Ekiti prison practically became a tourist center. Big, small, everybody, people showed up. And I was being told constantly of the loud demands that you lot were making for my release. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. And I must say, in all humility, that you are the ones who came out of prison. It wasn't me. You came out of prison. You found your voices. You demanded that the right thing be done. Consistently, you made sure that I knew I wasn't walking alone. Your voices strengthened me because I heard you even beyond the walls of the prison. I heard you loud and clear. You left nobody in any doubt as to what you were demanding. It wasn't about Dele Farotimi, even though I was the one who bore your totem. It was essentially a demand by each and every one of you that the law must be allowed to rule in the situation. Now, let me be very clear. I retired from the practice of law when I turned 50. My next birthday, I'll be 57. I'm no longer a young man. I practiced that law conscientiously for at least 2 decades. I am a lawyer, not just because I was trained as one, but because I am by nature one. I'm a Yoruba man. In my culture, it says, Ejola Ako, Baba Enikonke Koja. I am not a fool. When the magistrate spoke, the learned magistrate was very specific in the order that he gave. And even though I did not believe at the time, and I still do not believe that there was any need for that order to have been made, what he said was clear. I may not speak to the press or even to you about the case pending in his court. That was the extent of his order. I am a lawyer. The matter is sub judice, and I certainly cannot, whether he had made the order or not, I wouldn't have spoken to the case in the court. And I certainly do not intend to. There is absolutely no need to speak to any of the cases before the court. They are irrelevant to the future. And me and you, we need to focus on the future. So let us be clear. Assuming that the magistrate had made any such order, I would have been under a duty as a human being, even if I may not be a citizen, to disobey that order. But I thank God that the magistrate, erudite magistrate, intelligent and very, 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 very fair, firm and just, gave only one order, the only order he could have given in the circumstances. I may not speak to the case before his court, and I do not have any such intention. So anyone who has misconstrued that order to suggest that I am somehow gagged by somebody, there is no such law by which any magistrate or judge may gag me as a human being, even if I may not be a citizen, as long as I am not a slave. And if I have become a slave in the Nigerian state, it will be interesting to watch such an order come from any court presuming or purporting to be a court of law. No such order was given. So enough said on that one. I have deliberately kept quiet before today, largely because you left me spellbound. I've been humbled. I'm not a man easily given to humility, but you have humbled me by what you have done before, particularly after my abduction. And I use the word deliberately. I was never arrested. I was abducted. We will talk about that at some other point. But let's be clear. Nobody silences the bell. I may not be silenced. I've merely started talking. So let's go to today's issue. So I want us to talk about the road to freedom. And there goes the note. I need to speak to you from the heart and from my spirit. The note I prepared was for a different sermon, but as we were waiting, I began to download something, yes, exactly the same, but subtly different. So the Yorubas have a scripture, and that scripture says very clearly, Emu, Eki, Biteran Oreko. I'll translate for you or interpret. Grab it. Catch it. You do not catch the porcupine in the same manner as the rabbit. Let me explain that to you. If you're familiar with the porcupine, you will know of the quills on its back, with which it largely impales stupid predators. Even lions steer clear of the porcupine. As small as it is, its entire body made of quills would kill a lion if it would dare. Now, when that proverb came to my head in the course of this entire ordeal, I made the stupid error of thinking that I was the porcupine and that those who were coming after me were the unwary predator. But I received some sense this morning. Or let me just say, as I have digested the extent and the range of support that I have found since I came out of prison. And I realized that I am not the porcupine. It's not me. I'm just as harmless and defenseless as any of the other rabbits in this space. You will remember that for a long time, I have argued that the Nigerian is not a citizen. I even went as far as to have labeled myself for years as the patriot of an unborn nation. And then I believe on my Twitter feed, you find me labeling myself a victim of Nigeria. And I have multiple times spoken to the victimhood of the Nigerian people. I have lamented for years that what truly assails the Nigerian is the complete absence of the rule of law in our country, and how this has left all of us defenseless and as praise in what has become a country of pain. I have spoken to you about this for years, you know. I spoke to you about it, that we are all victims, that we have all become as victims in the country that we have managed to build. I told you how we were all running away. I told you how we were all running away from Nigeria because we have built an intolerable country unfit for human habitation. I have called it the evil empire. I have called it the evil empire. I've spoken to the fact that because of what we have all collectively tolerated, we have lost our country and we have become as slaves in the country that we have all built. And we are all to blame. Plus the idiot standing behind pulpits as I'm speaking with you, preaching injustice and lies to the people and helping them to normalize the madness that has overtaken all of us. I said this for years. So I am just as much a victim as each and every one of you. These are the first tears I have shed since my friend Ogunlanu died. I'm not given to tears, and I'm sorry. See, back to the issue. We all built this. We made this mess together, and it will take all of us to resolve the mess that we have made. It will take all of us. Without all of us functioning as one, the way you found the grace to function as one in the last month, you all acted as one. It wasn't about being Christian, being Muslim. They divided us along too many lines. Damn! We stopped being human because we became Nigerians. They divided us and we fell for it. Because you wouldn't see me as a Yoruba man, you spoke for me. Because you wouldn't see me as a Christian, you spoke for me. Because you spoke. Because you spoke. Because you spoke. Because you spoke, Nigeria couldn't happen to me. Because you spoke. The only reason Nigeria couldn't happen to me is because you spoke. You spoke. That is why Nigeria couldn't happen to me. And yeah, Nigeria couldn't happen to me. Emu, Eki, Bitenru Reko. You found your voices. I became you. And in our collective, you couldn't be silenced. And I could not be silenced. So it wasn't me that became the porcupine. It was you, the Nigerian citizens, that became the porcupine. So here is what we're going to do. First question I need you to ask yourself is this. How many of the people feeling the pains of the Nigerian state in detention or in prison deserve to be where they are? There's multiple people that I met in prison, and I will yet speak to my prison experience, but I assure you, I didn't shed a single tear. I was happy for the free accommodation. I didn't like the food and I didn't have to eat it. So I'm not talking about me in some pity form. I went to prison and I view it as a finishing school. It showed me exactly how ugly our country is. But because we have so many high-profile cases, or because the internet has brought this home to all of us, let's talk about Naomi, the former queen. Let's talk about Hamzat Oriyomi and the proprietress of that school in Ibadan. Exactly what is it that they have done that has earned them the need to be in prison? We should ask that question, but not because of them, but because of the many other persons without names that you and I have no knowledge of who are languishing in prison. Have you thought about that? If they will do that with those ones, what are they doing with those that nobody knows? They did it to me. You made it you. And because you made it you, they couldn't do it to me. Because our collective acting together as one turned the tide. The tide turned because we acted as one. Some Bulabas spoke for me. Obedience spoke for me. My brother in the Revolution Now movement, all of them spoke for me. Traditional rulers, you all spoke, and because you all spoke, I couldn't be treated the way each and every one of the other persons who do not deserve to be in prison were treated. The system resisted. I spent 21 days in captivity. 21 days. For those of you who are inclined to the spiritual, you understand the significance of 21 days. It pleased God that I should be kept in captivity for 21 days. The full cycle of a woman, the full cycle of Mother Nature. 21 days I was kept. There are some stories to be told on other days. But it's a long walk to freedom, but it could also be a short walk. It depends on each and every one of us. But the one thing that has become very clear to me, is that whatever we are going to get, we are going to have to act as one. We cannot continue to divide ourselves the way we've been horribly divided. We've got to act in concert, and in acting in concert, we should be able to achieve better results. The Yorubas have this proverb. They say, it simply means that if the reptiles, snakes, would act together in concert, then they will not die the way they die, since they rarely ever walk in pairs. We are the ones who have divided ourselves. My current travels, not travels, there is no traveling anything. Let me just say my current experiences or my past experiences, in my own candid opinion, highlights the need why we all have to act in concert. We need to agree what our own enlightened selfish interests might be. And I assure you there are multiple interests, because there is nothing that afflicts one part of this country that does not afflict the other. There is nothing that afflicts me that I didn't see afflicting multiple others that I saw in prison. And I know of multiple cases on a day-to-day basis in Nigeria where the totality of the flaw or the completion of everything is found in the knowledge that the Nigerian is not a citizen. The struggle ahead of us is the one where we must demand to be citizens. Those of you who desire separate homelands, you are only going to get that when you become citizens. Unfortunately or fortunately for all of us, we are trapped in this monstrosity that is called Nigeria. If we are going to ever come out of the monstrosity, whether that be as different nations or whether that be as one, it would be because we found the courage to become citizens in the space we are occupying today, forget the contrived differences between us, and then ensure that as citizens, we exercise our free sovereign will to do with Nigeria, our home country today, as we care. So those of you who desire Odua Republic or you're desiring Biafra, that's fine. But let's first of all become citizens here. And then we may, as citizens, exercising our sovereign will, have referendums where you can decide democratically if these homelands should be created. That should be our clear thoughts right now, how to become citizens. You do not become citizens in a place unruled by law. So the struggle ahead of us is to insist on the rule of law in the country in which we live. There are many struggles ahead. I will be seeking legal reliefs and redress against everyone involved in my abduction. I shall be defending each and every one of the many suits, civil and criminal, that have been filed against me rigorously. When we are done, I shall myself be writing petitions to the LPDC, looking to ensure that some lawyers do not ever practice law in this country again. Let us be clear. I remain your brother. I remain you, Dele Farotimi, Esquire, S.A.N., senior accused of Nigeria, victim of Nigeria, but a conscious victim, capable of articulating the conditions of the victim. I am not a victim again. I am a threat. That's what my brother Baldwin says. So, Kolo, Somadalon ni mo jẹ́ fún yín. Mi ò ṣe jẹ, kò sí nǹkan ilé fi mí ṣe. Mi ò dẹ̀ ní kó lọ́rùn yín. Tolerate me ni o. As long as we have to continue pretending that we are a democracy, you're gonna just have to tolerate me, okay? All right, guys. That's for you all. There isn't much more to say than to say thanks. For those who merely posted free Dele Farotimi, for those who stepped on the streets in Ekiti, Tanko Yunusa, yeah, Tanko, thanks. Yeah. Sarah Ibrahim, thanks. 1,000,001 of you. Oh yes, Ekinzo, my Ekiti brother. Those who I cannot even name in this moment, I thank you all. You deserve all the applause. You all stepped up. Like I was telling my brother Yele when we were talking, each and every person played the part that had been assigned to them.